Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you don't know me, my name is Sarah and in today's video I will be showing you how to crochet this chicken right here. Now technically this pattern is already out and released. It's been out for a few years, but recently I ended up making over 60 of these guys for my festival, and during that time I have tweaked the pattern a bit, I've revised it, so this tutorial is for the revised version of this pattern. The differences mainly are how the comb is attached, so you get some nice bumps, and then also I have changed how the second half of the body works up, so it's a little bit chubbier. On top of that, the original pattern does have a couple typos, so hopefully this one will not have any typos at all. I do have a very quick disclaimer before we get into this, and that is I do crochet pretty quickly. This tutorial is geared more towards intermediate crocheters. Not to say beginners can't crochet this pattern, just make sure you take your time. Pause the video, replay it if you need to, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I will get to them as soon as I can. With all of that said, let's go ahead and get into the material list. For materials, you're going to need some yarn. You're going to need yarn in 4 colors. You need one for the main color. I'm going to be using this floral yarn today. You'll also need a color for the comb. So the comb for me will be red. And then you will also need a small amount of yarn for your beak. So I'll use this golden color. And like I said, just a small length of yarn for that. And you'll also need some black. Of course, I'm using the best yarn ever, Naughty Pony, but you can use any yarn you want to embroider the eyes and the beak. I will also be using some size 4 yarn in today's tutorial. I'll use this to start my magic ring. So you just need a small length of yarn. You don't have to use this, especially if you're using a different yarn type, but I find that this makes the cleanest magic ring ever, and it's just a lot easier to work with. You also need a crochet hook. Ignore my crochet hook that is all beat up right now. I am using a 5mm hook in today's tutorial, so feel free to adjust your hook size as needed, and if you're using a different yarn type, which you can, make sure to use the correct hook size with it. You'll also need a pair of scissors, a plastic sewing needle. Well, you don't need a plastic sewing needle, you need a sewing needle. I'll be using a metal one to attach the comb because it'll be a little bit easier. And then I'll be using the plastic one to close up the hole at the end. You'll also need some stuffing for today's pattern. You don't need a whole ton, but you do need quite a bit for these guys. That should be it for the material list. Let's go ahead and get crocheting. To begin, we're going to start by making the comb. So I'm going to be using red for this, but use whatever comb color you want to use. And we're going to begin by making a slip knot onto our hook. You just want to leave a super short end on this side, and we'll leave a length of yarn on the other end when we get to that part. Go ahead and chain 4. And now you can work into the back loops of the chain or the side of the chain. We do have to put a lot of stitches into each chain though, so I recommend crocheting into the top loop so it'll be a little bit easier on your hands and your sanity. What we're going to do is slip stitch into that second chain from hook. We're going to chain 1, slip stitch into that same chain, chain 1, and slip stitch again into that same chain. And now we are going to chain 1 and slip stitch 3 times in each of the next chains. Like I said, a lot of stitches, but it shouldn't be too bad. Once you have finished, go ahead and chain 1, and we're going to cut our yarn, leaving a length of yarn for sewing. I like to give my comb a little bit of a tug to kind of straighten anything out. And here is the comb finished. Now we are going to move on to the head / body. It's all one piece. So to do this, I'm using my size 4 yarn to make a magic ring. So I just wrap it around my fingers, grab it with my hook, and then I chain 1 with the size 4 yarn, or the size 6 yarn. and that's a magic ring. And in that magic ring, we're going to single crochet 6. Go ahead and close that magic ring. Now don't close it incredibly tight. It'll make it hard to sew into later. Just leave it a tiny bit loose. And if you aren't using the size 4 yarn, but you plan on securing your magic ring, don't do that because we need to put the comb here and that should secure the magic ring, no issue. For the next round, we're going to increase and then we will single crochet and we'll repeat that 3 times total. Now I'm going to secure my magic ring. Like I said, do not tie these ends too tight. You want to leave a little bit of wiggle room so we can get a needle into that center of the magic ring later on. And now for the next 2 rounds, we're going to single crochet in each stitch. I'm going to go ahead and tuck these ends into my head for now, just so that they're out of the way while we continue to crochet. For the next round, we are going to increase in the next 3 stitches, and then we will single crochet in the remaining 6 stitches. For the next round, we are going to increase and then we'll single crochet 1. We'll repeat that 3 times total and then we'll single crochet in the remaining 6 stitches. For the next round, we're going to increase, single crochet 2 times, repeat that 3 times total, and then single crochet in the remaining 6 stitches. For the next round, we're going to single crochet 2 times, and then we are going to increase in the next 6 stitches. And then we are going to single crochet in the next 10 stitches. For the next round, we're going to single crochet in the next 2 stitches. Then we are going to increase, single crochet, and repeat that 6 times total. And then we'll single crochet in the remaining 10 stitches. And here's what we're looking like so far. We are almost finished with the increase rounds. We just have one more increase round to go. And this is also the round where we will be adding the tail. We're going to start by single crocheting 7. In that next stitch, we are going to increase. Then we will single crochet 2 times. Single crochet 3 times, excuse me, single crochet in that next stitch as well. We're going to chain 5. This is going to start our tail. And we're going to go ahead and slip stitch into that very first chain that we made. Then we're going to chain 4. And slip stitch into that exact same stitch. And now we're going to single crochet into that same single crochet we just made, so that third single crochet, and this is going to make it an increase, just like so. Now we're going to single crochet 2, and increase, and we're going to single crochet in the rest of the stitches all the way around. 16 single crochets back to the beginning. Now for the next 2 rounds, we are going to single crochet in each stitch. Make sure you crochet around the tail and not into any of the chain stitches. And here's what we're looking like so far with the single crochet rounds finished. For the next round, we are going to single crochet 7. We're going to decrease into the next stitch. I like to invisible decrease, single crochet 2 times, and you repeat that 3 times total. Now we're going to single crochet in the remaining 14 stitches. And now we are going to go ahead and join all of the face details. Now I will note that you can add these earlier or you can add them once you finish the body. I personally prefer to add them now because you can turn it inside out and secure the ends on the inside. So again, I like to bring all of those ends in the middle down so that they aren't in the way nearly as much. So just bring them straight down. And then I'm going to take my comb and you're going to thread your longer end. I'm going to use my metal needle for this, but you can use whatever needle works for you. What we're going to do is we're going to start at the back here. So we're going to be centered with the tail. And this is going to be 2 rounds down from the magic ring. So here we have magic ring, round, and then this round here. Technically, if you look at it on this side, it's 1 round down, but it's about right here. We're just going to put our needle through it and pull it nice and tight. And then what we're going to do is we're going to attach the chain to the actual head. So I'm going to grab one stitch, go back through the stitch that we pulled up through and into the middle of the magic ring. Pull nice and tight. And I'm going to repeat this 2 more times. So I'm going to take this center piece here, go right back into the middle and out again. Pull nice and tight. And then the last stitch I'm going to attach is the front piece here, and I like to insert my needle through one side just like that, and this kind of creates a little bit of a V. And then we're going to go right back through that same stitch and out into the center of the magic ring again. And now here's how I get the perfect shape. I do this by grabbing the loop right in the center of where you can kind of see the stitches dip a little bit already. So I grab that loop and then I attach it to the head, go over to the next stitch. That accentuates the bumps a bit. And then you do the same thing over here, right in that middle where it starts to go a little bit flatter again. Pull it nice and tight, go in and then out through that final stitch. And what we're going to do is create a V just like we did on the front. So go through the stitch, back out, and through that same stitch. And now we're just going to leave it on the inside. So go ahead and pull it right through to the inside and drop that end. Then we're going to take our smaller end and we're just going to tuck that right in. So this is what we're going to tie our 2 ends together on the inside for a nice secure knot. But you just put them inside for now while we do the beak and the eyes. And there's the comb joined on. Next thing we're going to join on is the beak. I think this is easier for placement of the eyes. So go ahead and thread your needle with your yellow/gold or whatever color you end up using. We're going to go right here. So this is 2 rounds down, centered with the comb. And we're going to stitch across 2 stitches to create the beak. Now you could stitch just once, you could stitch twice. I like to stitch 3 times, but kind of hide one of the ends, so it only looks like I stitched twice. Does that make sense? I do that just so that the beak has a little bit more structure to it. Just like that. Now we're going to add the eyes. With your black, thread your needle. And we're going to come up right next to the beak. So 1 stitch over from the beak. I'm going to go from the top down. I just find this makes a better looking eye. And you're just going to stitch across this 1 stitch. You can add as many loops as you want to make the eye bigger or smaller. I prefer my eyes to be on the smaller side, so I'm just going to do 2 loops. Just like that. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side, so start at the top, 1 stitch over, and stitch it a couple times. And when you finish, just bring the end into the body. And if you haven't already, cut your working black end. And here we have the chicken. So now what we're going to do is we're going to turn it inside out. And we're going to tie all these ends together. I like to start by tying my 2 comb ends nice and tight to the red ends. And then what I like to do is tie the beak together. And then once I finish that, I tie 1 black end to 1 gold end. And this just helps keep any yarn from peeking through the other side between the stitches. And there you have everything nice and secure. If you haven't secured your magic ring, you can probably do that now too. Or just leave it with the comb sitting on top of it. It should be pretty secure. And then we're just going to go ahead and tuck all of those ends right up into the head. And there's the chicken head ready. So now we just have 2 more rounds to complete before we are finished with our chicken. For this next round, we are going to decrease all the way around. So you will have 15 decreases. there's our first decrease round. So now you can begin stuffing. Now when I was market prepping these, like I said, I think I said in the beginning, I made over 60 of these guys. When I did that, I just finished the body and then I stuffed them all later. But to make your life easier, I would suggest stuffing it first. I'm going to put all my random fluffies from sewing in there, and then we're going to start stuffing. I'm going to finish stuffing once the body is finished. For the next round, we're going to decrease in each stitch around. There will be one remaining stitch you did not crochet into. Once you finish, go ahead and slip stitch, chain one, fasten off, leaving a short-ish end. We just need it long enough to close up this bottom hole here. And I'm going to go ahead and finish stuffing. And once you've finished stuffing, we're going to close up the bottom hole. Do this by threading your needle. Collect all of the front loops of all the remaining stitches. Once you've finished, go ahead and pull tight. I'm going to secure this end by grabbing one of the loops at anywhere near your needle. Pull up a loop, stick your yarn through it, pull it tight, and then go ahead and weave this in. And here's the chicken finished. I hope this tutorial was helpful and that you all enjoyed it. If you crocheted your own chicken, let me know in the comments what yarn you used, what colors you picked. I know there are some classic chickens out there. You know, you got the white chicken and the creamy chicken, but you can also have a bit of fun with it like I did. Floral chicken. Here's another kind of floral chicken. So cute. Plus other colors too. And yes, this is just an excuse to show off all the colors I've made recently. I'm sure you all understand. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all of your support. And I will see you in my next video, which will be a market vlog. And I do talk about some more of these chickens in that market vlog. And I will see you in my next video. Bye!